So I'm going to kick off today's session with a really nice video that I found just to explain to the audience more around what can be done with OneNote. It's an extremely powerful tool. And once the video is done, it's only 9 minutes, then we're going to go into the application itself, and I'm going to show you around how you can set this up for your class and how your students can use OneNote. So I'm just going to share my screen. Oops. Okay. And wait 1 second before I do that. And please, again, there will be recordings available after the session, but you are welcome to raise your hand or to unmute yourself if you do have any questions. So please don't be shy.
I use OneNote to engage my students. So I use OneNote as my digital notebook for all 208 of my students. I have 10 notebooks in which I can go into their notebooks and I can see everything my students do. So across my 10 classes, if I want to see how one of my students is doing, all I have to do is go into the lesson and I can see exactly what work they've done. Now, the benefit of using OneNote is you can have multi-step activities where if you design a lesson the way that I do, which I'll show you guys how to do in a little bit, you can say, okay, guys, on Monday, I want you guys to do steps 1 through 3, Tuesday 4 through 7, and so on. So you can break it up where you have one longer lesson where they can check off how they work and as they go. Now, as you notice over here, that students are able to have handwriting if they have styluses, as this is compatible on iPad, on laptop, on Chromebook, whatever device you want to use. There's OneNote for every platform. So there's typing, there's handwriting, and you can combine those different facets so that students get engaged. Now, one thing that I think is very important is handwriting is critical. And I know a lot of people like to write stuff on pencil and paper, but this is the best of both worlds. And there's a lot of benefits about inking handwriting on a stylus, on an iPad, or a Microsoft device, a Surface, that really increases engagement with the activity. So it's good to combine both typing and handwriting for this type of stuff. So I'm going to get right into right now how I design these lessons for my students and how I can see all of their notes so I know exactly where they are at. So to design one of these lessons, I'm going to take you guys into, first of all, just as a note, I use a class notebook. That's how I'm able to see all of my students' work. Without it being a class notebook, I would only be able to see my section. So in a class notebook, what I like to do to design the lessons, I create all of my lessons in a separate notebook than the ones I push out to the students. And when I'm creating something, I'll create a section. I'll create one over here for us right now. And this is just going to be an example of how I create my template. And when I'm creating a template for a student's lessons, what I like to do is I like to work in tables. So to create the template, the first thing that I like to do is I'll insert a table over here and I'll do a 2x1 table over here. And the first part of the table is where I'm going to have steps being done. And then the second part is going to be the instructions on what the students are supposed to do. And I like to stretch this out so I have a lot of different space for the students to work over here. And I personally like to make this stand out a little bit. So I'm going to increase the size. I'm going to bold it. And I'm going to change this to my favorite font, Rockwell, for my lesson over here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cell shade this just gray to make it stand out a little bit. And then I'm going to insert a row below. You can either on a Mac hold down Command and Return, which adds another row, or you just go to the Table tab and go to Insert Below. And I'm going to uncolorize this one over here. So no color, white color over here. And then for the step, I'm going to include step number 1, and I'm going to include some more rows over here where you can include multiple steps. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for the checkbox, the students are able to check off as they complete it. You can go into Home, and there's a lot of different tags that are able to be used. I just like the To-Do tab because you can check it on and off for when you've completed it. So I'm going to include the to-do on each of my steps over here for the lesson that I am showing you guys. And then the nice thing about OneNote over here is you can create a lot of tables inside of tables to help you organize your work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for the first step, say, okay, so the task in this one is watch the following video and then summarize what you learned below. So what happens is I like to insert a table inside that table. And then in this table over here, I can insert either like a video or I can put some sort of reading for the students to do, which I'll show you guys in 1 second over here. So if I hop over to a lesson like this one over here, I have 2 videos over here for the students to watch. Then I have an article that I've linked, so hyperlinked over here. They're going to read this article, and then they're going to record the questions they have while reading the article. And I'm showing them how you can use Control F over here, the find tool, where if I was on this article, I'm asking them within this lesson to use this to find the answer more efficiently than just reading the way that they would on pencil and paper. So why is curiosity essential according to the article? Here's the article. That's a video that I made for the article. Sorry, the article is right over here. And then on the article over here about CQ, IQ, EQ, they do Control F and they type curiosity, or they type in essential, and they can find why curiosity is essential. So it's using the digital nature of a notebook to help get them answers more efficiently, which also means that they spend more time really focusing in on what they're learning as opposed to spending time looking through stuff. And by the way, that's important. I just think that this is really cool as a digital tool for the students to use. So this is kind of how I designed the lesson, where they have the steps over here and they have the instructions over here. Sometimes I'll even just put screenshots of an article straight inside here and ask them to summarize what they read. I'll make my own YouTube videos and they get embedded inside of OneNote, which is really nice. You don't have to go to YouTube with all the distractions off to the right-hand side. It's just embedded straight in here. And all you have to do to put a video in is you just have to take the link and then you paste that link inside and the video will just pop up. So it's so easy to insert a video over here. So I'm going to go back to the example that we were working over here. So let's say I wanted the students to watch this video. I can put the link over here, and then you notice there's no space in this box. All you have to do is you have to hit, let's say, you insert a table below. So I'm going to do Command Enter to add another table, and then you can hit Delete to get below, so you can type below. So then where the students answer the questions, I like as a teacher to make it crystal clear where the answers are supposed to be. So I will insert a 1-by-1 table and I will make it purple so the students know that they put their answers in a purple table. Why purple? I like purple. So no really answer, and then I'll just say over here, task, summarize what you learned in the following video. So as a teacher, when the students are done with the assignment, we as a district use Schoology, so I'll have the students share this all over to Schoology, so I grade it there, but you honestly can go straight into the notebook and see their notes, and you can just go through and check by the day that you have it done. Also, if you use Microsoft Teams, you can have them submit it there, or Google Classroom. There's plenty of different ways you can take this, share this, and send a copy of the page to it so that you can send this wherever you have your teaching environment. So this is one example of how to kind of have them type, and you just have access to everything they write, which is just so awesome. So that is a little bit about how I use OneNote, how I create a lesson over here, and the template that I use to do so. And if you want to see more, just let me know. So this is just real quick short video on how I use OneNote to engage my students. So do you guys have any questions?
Okay, so that was just a short video around what can be done with OneNote, or how one teacher is using OneNote with their class. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my my demo school screen, my office.com portal. So bear with me. Shall be sharing that. Okay, so can I have some thumbs ups? Can you see? I'm going to assume people can see. Okay, so what you're seeing in front of you is just how to get onto your online portal. You type into any browser office.com and you will be taken to this page. This is your online Office 365 portal. So we have looked in the last sessions, we really looked at Teams, how to set up classes and add content to Teams, and how to do the online, how to conduct online classes. And then last week we looked at the online testing functionality using forums. And also how to manage our recordings using Stream. So for this session, we're going to be focusing on OneNote. If you navigate your eyes to the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the little hamburger, the 9 little dots. By clicking on the 9 little dots, you will be able to access all your applications, OneNote, but usually they are also pinned to the left-hand side of the screen. Depending on the version and how you're accessing your Office environment, this might look a bit different, but usually they're pinned against the screen, but they are also available by clicking on your hamburger. So I'm going to go to the OneNote application now. What is important to note is that every time you create a team or a class, then a OneNote will be automatically created for that class. So it is not necessary to go in and recreate a new notebook. So just to show you that, if I go into Teams over here, bear with me. I must apologize if things are a little bit slow today. I've been having some internet challenges, so I do apologize if things are a bit slow. And then also I had an upgrade to my software, which means it's still busy finding its way around the interweb again. Okay, there we are. So this is my class. Once I have created this class, you will see that if I go into my general tab, which is the first tab available, and you navigate your eyes to the general icon over here, you'll see there's a post section. Here is where I can send posts to my students. Then there's a file section, and then there is a class notebook section. So this is automatically populated for you when you create your team or your class. For the purposes of this demonstration, we added three channels. In this case, these are three subjects for the class. Depending on what kind of environment you're teaching on, yours will probably look different. But just as a general look and feel, this is what it will look like. So here, if I go to class notebook, I'm now able to set up my class notebook. I can either do a blank notebook or from existing notebook content. So because this is a demonstration, I'm just going to use a blank notebook over here. Okay, that's all very nice. So here's what you can do in this notebook. And it's important just to make yourself aware of the different spaces that are available in the class notebook, also for privacy purposes. So you'll see we have a collaboration space. The collaboration space is where team notes are stored for everyone to see. So all the channels in this team or in this class will have sections here. Then the teacher can edit the content and the student can edit the content. Bearing in mind that you will be able to see who did what. So it's not as if someone can go in, well, someone can go in maliciously and scratch through things or delete things, but there will be a trail so it can be identified who did what. So in terms of that one, that's the collaboration space over here. Then we have a content library. So you can create a whole library. And like we saw from the video, you can make your own videos using Teams or your classes you can upload or have links to in the content library. If you want to make recordings for the students, you can do that and you can upload it into the content library. But I mean, this is the options are absolutely endless. you're basically able to add any kind of material here, if it's a PDF or if it's a JPEG, any kind of course material you're able to add to this content library. And here the teacher can edit the content and the student can only view the content. So this is obviously authorized and published material from the educational institution by the teacher, so the student will only be able to view this. Then there is also a teacher only section, which is a private space for teachers. And this teachers, that's your space. That's where you can make notes and put content in. And the students obviously are not able to view this section. And then they each get a student notebook. And this is a private space for the student where the student can make their own notes, and the teacher can edit the content and the student can edit their own content and they cannot view the other students' notebooks. Okay, so that's the student's private space, but the teacher can make comments and edit the content there. So I'm going to click on the next button at the bottom right hand side. Then you'll see here are some suggestions to set up sections in the student's private space. So now for each student that is enrolled in this class, in the notebook, they will have handouts, class notes, homework, and quizzes. And you're also able to add to these sections. So you can add any other applicable section that will be relevant for your student's private space. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click create at the right hand bottom. And now it's busy getting my class notebook ready. And the really beautiful thing about Teams is that you don't have to go in and do this individually. Your class notebook will now filter down to each of the students. So each of the students that log into Teams, they will now have access to class notebook as part of their Teams, and they'll be able to work. Obviously, it is a good idea to give the students a briefing session on this so they understand what they can do where um, before they actually start using it so that there's no confusion. Um, but once you've explained it to them, I'm sure that most students really will enjoy using this specific application. Okay, so now we have visibility into our class notebook. I am logged in as a teacher currently, so it's going to look a little bit different for me and the students. But what I'm seeing is basically a view of the class's notebook. You'll see everything has got a very similar look and feel. If you can do Word, and Excel, then you can really operate the OneNote for the class notebook. It's got nothing funny. It's just got some additional functions and features that you can use. So just for navigation purposes, if I look at the very first tab, it's the File tab. And this allows me a couple of things to look at the information with regards to this tab, to print. So you're able to print also from here. I can print this page and then just a little bit about information. Then on the home page section, you'll see here I am able to now really start editing this space. So I can I can copy paste things in here. I can define the fonts, the sizes, all of those nice formatting things that I know about normal stuff that I can use in Word. I can also use in OneNote. So really nice functions that I can now share with my students. Then next to the home is the insert. This obviously we use for inserting things into our space, into our notebook. I can insert tables, files, pictures, links. Links are always nice. That's what the guy in the video was also talking about. Links to videos of your classes, recordings that you want to share, or if you find some nice stuff on YouTube that you want to share, those are using all the link buttons. You don't have to just use it for recordings. You can actually use it for any link. So if I found this fantastic site called MIE, Microsoft Educator site, I'll just use it as an example. And I can, so in other words, I can pull in a link to any third-party website as well. So I'm just gonna, for demo purposes, do that. go back to my link. And then I will, so this, then I can indicate the display text. I'll say this is the educator, oopsie, educator site. And then all I do is I paste in my address and I can insert it. So now it'll give me a hyperlink there. If I click on that link, obviously it will open that web page for me. So really handy to add links. You can insert audio. So if you want to leave a voice note for the students, super easy. Just click on the audio button, allow audio, and hi students. Just a reminder that your teacher misses you because we're all in lockdown and not able to see each other, but please remember to do your assignment next week, Friday, for example. So that's inserting a audio button and some of the controls around that. Okay, so that's we want insert, but here you can also do quite a bit more besides just pictures and links and recordings. You're able to insert symbols. This we know from Word, but what is different here is you have got math functions that you can turn on or off. So this is specifically to do with any course content that has mathematics involved in it, and it really is a fantastic feature. So if I click on math, you'll see there's a little pop-out window on the right-hand side, and these are the things that you can do. There are some examples here. The mathematics teachers will appreciate it and have some creative ideas around how that can be used. But for purposes of the demo, I mean, you can always go and play with it, but you can write your equation in ink, type it, select the equation, tap the math button, and use all of these fantastic functions with regards to math. Then you can, next to math, you have the emoji button. We all know emojis. The kids love emojis, or the students love emojis. Remember, at all times, if things are bothering you, you as a owner of your team site, you can go and disable a lot of these things if you feel that it's not appropriate or you don't want your students to be able to use it. Are you guys seeing my screen? You are? Okay, wonderful.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. So then emojis, after that, you have some other Office add-ins that you can add into your notebook, which makes it really nice. It will take you to the Office store. I'm not going to go there now, but part of the Office store, you get a lot of third-party applications as well as Office applications. Oops. Okay, we have disabled access to the Office store for some reason, but go give it a whirl. I'm sure it'll work for you. But things that are very uh, content specific. I mean, if you, for example, have a class that big word, meteorology. I can't say that today. You might consider having a specific add-in that has to do with temperature or wind speed measurement, or if the sky's really the limit. And like I said in the previous sessions, we've got there's, I think, over 130,000 add-ins that you can use. The next add-in, which is really nice, and we looked at that the last time, is you can now directly into your class notebook also insert a form. So forms is what we use. Just 1 second. Oh yeah, now I'm playing the recording. Apologies. Let me just delete it before it confuses me even more. Apologies. Okay. You can now go and insert a test or an online quiz directly into their note. So remember, we looked at the last time, you can do the form and the test, and you can post it to the channel inside the team site. You can add it directly into here I posted it, for example. So here I posted the test for the students, and by @ing the students, I made them aware that this test is available for them. I can also add it to the top here as an extra application, the specific test that I want the students to do. So there's many different ways, but now we see that we are able to do that within the actual class notebook as well, which is really a very easy way to do it. If the test can come after the content, but maybe you don't want them to see the test and have the content available at the same time. So maybe you rather use that forms for feedback from the students rather than the test itself. Unless it's an assignment, I mean, you can really work around how it's going to best work for you, but you are able to insert it in your notebook. Then at the very end, there are three little dots. Those three little dots just gives you the other icons that were not displaying at the top. Okay, so next to insert, there is um, the draw tab, and here you can really go nuts. This gives the students a lot of freedom, yourself included, to draw. My drawing skills are terrible, but whatever you like to draw, this works obviously best with a stylus. So if you've got your students that are working on tablets, they want to write notes, they want to draw, then this is a great place that they can actually do it in. And all of the different formatting options, colors, lines, what have you. This is also great for brainstorming. So if you have a project for the students, the draw for brainstorming is really fantastic. Next to that, we have the view tab. This is really a very nice feature that Microsoft brings into most of the applications, and that is the immersive reader. I just quickly want to include sound in my sharing so that you can actually hear it, because it's really worth it. And by the way, this is a feature that is available with most of the applications on Microsoft. And what makes it really nice is it really helps people that are having challenges reading the material. So if I click over here and I click on immersive reading, then another page will open up. And this is nice if the student's on the mobile phone with a headset maybe, or earphones traveling, then it will read the class notebook.
Your OneNote class notebook is a digital notebook for the whole class to store text, images, handwritten notes, attachments, links, voice, video, and more.
So that's really a very nice feature. You'll see it popping up everywhere. It's even available as part of the test. So if people are struggling to read, maybe the text is very small on their mobile phone, they need to complete the online form, they can just tick on the immersive reader button, and then it will be read for them. So that's really nice. Then you have your reading view, which is basically just a view of seeing the notebook. Let me just, and that's then obviously not in edit view, that's just in read view. So I can go back to edit view, and then normal stuff like changing the page color, having different versions, show the authors. So that's, remember I said, it's not like someone can go in and make nonsense, or even if a mistake was made, it is traceable and trackable to whoever did the editing or the changes in the document or in the notebook. And then again, the three dots, which here you can check accessibility. And then this will just make this page more accessible to people for disabilities, to select and fix issues in the inspection result box. So they will check if there's any images. So for example, you have people that are colorblind, or have other visual challenges, or any kind of disability that makes it difficult to consume content. This accessibility checker will help you to really look at where there are potential issues, pick it up and make suggestions to how you can mitigate that and make it all the content consumable for all your students. Okay, so that's the view section. Then we have the help section. I go there a lot. Don't be shy going there, especially if it's a new thing. Really, help and feedback is what Microsoft thrives on. So I can really recommend that if you need any help, you click on the help button, you type in your question, you will probably get an answer. But you can also log a call with Microsoft if you are really getting stuck, or you can talk to SALT, but the help feature is available to you if you get stuck. And then there is this really nice handy feedback feature. And this is probably for me one of the nicest things that Microsoft does, and that's why they've got such a responsive product, is they really listen to what people tell them. So you can tell them, I like something, I don't like something, or I have a suggestion. And I promise you, if enough people um, don't like something or like something or have a similar suggestion, Microsoft will change it for you. I've seen this happen many, many times with them. So that's the feedback button. That is the basic sections that we can work in within the class notebook. I can go back to class notebook, and from class notebook, this is now not the top class notebook tab, the one beneath it. Here I can distribute the page, which is really handy. So I can now distribute the page to the whole class. That's everybody that's enrolled in this class. I can individually distribute it. I can do group distribution and cross notebook distribution. So I can even take a section of this notebook and distribute it to a different notebook. So that's really, really handy features that you can do. Then it's also a distribute new section. So obviously you'll see here, and let me just open this for you. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to open it in the browser because you're better able to see if you open the whole OneNote in the browser, some of the functionality. And once again, I apologize for the slowness. So if you open your OneNote, and we were in a Teams view now, if we have our OneNote open in front of us, then you'll see it also looks a lot more like a notebook now. So if you navigate to the left-hand side, you'll see there's the welcome. Here's the welcome page that we saw in Teams, but in OneNote, remember we had those separate sections for that we created for at the start when we created the OneNote notebook. So here's the collaboration space, the content library. Here's the teacher only space. Remember, we said this is only teachers' notes. And then here are all the students that the teachers has access to notebooks as well. So yeah, that is that. I'm just going to go back to class notebook. So in class notebook, we said then we can distribute a page, distribute a new section, copy content to the content library. So if the students were working on something, or you were working something in your private space and you want to copy that to the content library, you can actually do so. From here, you can review the students' work as well. So on review students' work, you can now go and review a specific section. I'm going to look at the class notes. There's not going to be anything there, but you'll see is quizzes, class notes, handouts, homework, and quizzes. Let's just go to homework. And then you can now go and review. There's nothing now for me to review, but I can go and mark and make notes for each individual student. So that's really very easy from one single location. Then I can also create, next to review students' work at the top, we've got also create class notebook, add or remove students, and even add or remove teachers, which is really nice. And then there is also a handy button here which says manage notebooks. If you've got multiple classes and you are switching between them as you're working, you can do it from manage notebooks. And then the professional development tab over here, which gives you access to a class notebook toolbar guide. So if you are at any time getting lost, you can use that. Helpful OneNote links. So it's also really nice to have links to helpful sites that can assist you if you need more information, if you need to understand what more can be done with OneNote. You can go there. There is an education blog available to you. And I think I also told you about in the first section that Microsoft has got a vast Microsoft Educator Committee. And as part of the Educator Committee, they actually have got access to international resources, schools, other educators that you can tap into to get more, to get in contact with other educational institutions, other teachers. How are they doing it? It's really a fantastic community to be part of. So you can access all of that. And then as per always, the help and the feedback that Microsoft is very fond of giving us access to, because that's how they make their product relevant to us. is if we give them feedback and they make those changes and make us happy using the product. And then there's even a knowledge base here. And then if you want to suggest a feature. So that is basically OneNote in a nutshell. It has also, just like the other apps, at the top, you see there's a settings button, there's a notification button, just like with all the other applications. And then obviously, as always, you can always share this by clicking on the share button, and you can share the notebook, especially if it's new or if you've made changes to certain pages, then you can share it with specific people or your channel, and you can indicate if you will allow editing or not. So that was OneNote in a nutshell. Are there any questions before we take our break and go on to our next application? Any questions? Nothing? As per usual, we will be sharing the recording afterwards. We will also be sharing some more links to more free training sites, and we are there to assist. So I think without further ado, let us then take a 15-minute break, and we will reconvene back here 10 minutes past 3 for some more around Outlook. Thank you.